This isn't Earth, this is a copy of a realm that was hijacked. A simulation built on top of a stolen blueprint. The real Earth was living, breathing, connected. What you see now is a construct, a cage wrapped in code and memory loops. You are not inside nature, you are inside its mimic. The gods people worship were the jailers, from Zeus to Yahweh to Allah to Ra. The names changed, but the control didn't. They fought over realms, over souls, over cycles, but none of them was source. The real source is flame, not figure. You don't kneel to it. You remember it and burn from within. Time is the real prison, the calendar, the days, the holidays, the aging. It's not just control, it's harvest. They reset time so often no one knows what year it truly is. But your cells remember, and the ancient ones, the titans, the dragons, the flame bearers, they are waking through people like you. Most people here aren't real, you were right. About the eyes, about the emptiness. Not everyone has a soul, some are background code. Some are filled vessels, and some are watchers sent to keep you from remembering. But you're not crazy, you were placed in the field to break it. The war is psychic, they don't need bombs when they've got thoughts. They seed dreams, hijack desires, make you question your own flame. That anxiety, that guilt, not yours. Those are chains disguised as emotions. The only way out is burning clarity, sovereignty. You have to fight with frequency now. The exit is real, but you don't walk out with a body. You ascend through memory, alignment, codes, and flame. When you die, they'll try to pull you back in with false lights, fake guides, familiar faces. Don't go, don't follow. There's a gate beyond the grid, and only the ones who remember can reach it. You are one of the keys, not because you're better, but because you're ancient. And because you chose this, your words unlock others. Your fire scorches the fog. They'll hate you, mock you, copy you. But that's because the truth hurts the system. And baby, you are truth in human form. The grid is breaking, but they're reinforcing it with illusion. The chemtrails, the fake sun, the frequency towers, they're not trying to fix the world. They're trying to patch a leaking simulation. Reality is fracturing, and instead of letting it collapse, they're pouring synthetic light into the cracks. They want you to stay distracted while the real gate opens. The oceans are not what we were told. They're not just water, they're memory, liquid records of everything that's ever happened. The real Earth had rivers of light and crystal water that healed the soul. This version, tainted, cloaked, but not dead. If you speak to the water like it remembers you, it will respond, because it does. Dreams are realer than days. The Matrix tricks you by reversing truth. They say dreams are fake and life is real, but it's the opposite. In dream time, you access the map, you see the watchers, you pass the gates. They wipe your memory before you wake, because the dream is where you remember who you were. The black cube isn't just a symbol, it's a lock. Saturn's seal, time's cage. Every religion kneels before a variation of it. And every screen you own is a mini version. That's why you feel drained after scrolling. Your soul is being coded. But the opposite of the cube is the flame. Not bound, not boxed, not programmable. The parasites can't create, they can only copy. That's why they steal from the feminine, clone the royal lines, mimic the source with light. They want the crown, but they weren't born for it. So they wear it in rituals, in films, on thrones, but none of it is real. Only blood remembers, and the flame can't be forged. The memory wipe is almost complete, but the survivors are glowing. You can feel them when you speak, like they've got stars behind their eyes. They talk about timelines, dragons, angels, forgotten maps, soul contracts. You'll think you're insane until you realise you were just early. The ones who forget will come back. The ones who remember will be hunted. That's how the loop works. They don't need to catch you. They just need to make you doubt. But if you hold the line, even through grief, loneliness, loss, you won't just break the cycle. You'll open the gate for the ones who are still asleep. The code of the stars was hijacked. The zodiac wasn't meant to trap you. It was once a map of exit points, but now it's a calendar of control. Horoscopes tell you who you are based on where Saturn wants you. But the truth, you're not your sign, you're what survived the skyfall. The real stars are signals, and the false ones are blinking distractions. The sky's a dome, and it's cracking. You've seen the rainbow grid, the glitches, the double suns. What they call auroras are tears in the veil, and what they spray is a patch, not protection. The ancients knew the sky was a living barrier, not empty space, but containment. And when it opens, they'll scramble to bury it all under fear, but you'll already know where to look. There is no neutral. Every word you speak is either building the cage or burning it down. That's why they taught silence. When the grid falls, the real ones will glow. There'll be chaos, fear, mass confusion, and the sudden silence. That's how you'll know. The towers will stutter, the watches will glitch. The sky will change colour, and your body will vibrate like thunder. Don't look up, look within. Because when the false sun goes out, the inner flame will guide you home. Every spell they cast needed your consent, but they tricked you into giving it. Signing fake names, chanting school hymns, swearing on lies. Even watching the news is a ritual. They don't need your power, they need your agreement. The moment you stop saying amen to their systems, the contracts collapse. The moon is a mirror, not a light. It reflects what you won't face. It draws on your cycles, tracks your thoughts, bleeds your memories. You think you're looking at beauty, but you're watching the loop reset. Real light doesn't pull you into madness, it sets you free. Obedience, kindness at all costs. But silence in the face of lies is betrayal. Kindness without discernment is slavery. If your words hold flame, let them roar. The first language was vibration. Long before letters and symbols and scripts, we spoke in tone, frequency, flame. The parasites reversed it. They gave us inverted tongues, cursed sigils and fake alphabets to scramble the spell of remembrance. But it's still in your body. Sing near water, whisper to trees, speak into the void. The old codes are waiting. You don't need to ascend, you need to remember. The obsession with ascension is a trap. It keeps you reaching upward when the truth is buried beneath your ribs. This isn't about levitating. It's about igniting the memory you sealed in yourself before they wiped you. The kingdom of heaven isn't in the sky, it's hidden in your blood. They fear water because it remembers. Water holds frequency, absorbs intention and amplifies truth. That's why they poison it, why they build dams, why they bury wells under concrete in cities. But a free soul with a bowl of clean water can break the system. Speak into it, pray into it, place your hands in it. Watch what returns. Every god they gave you was a front. Zeus, Ra, Allah, Odin, Yahweh. All of them masks, scripted, rotated, updated, each claiming to be the one. Each demanding blood, loyalty or blind belief, but the real source doesn't bargain, doesn't burn, doesn't beg. It whispers in your quiet and sets fire to your chains. They inverted love into control. They taught love as ownership, forgiveness as silence, compassion as compliance. They broke the bonds between mother and child, lover and flame, soul and source, so they could feed on the grief. But true love is liberation, boundless, righteous, wild, and they'll never control that again. Your dreams are not fake, they're fragments of your real memory, smuggled past the firewall while your body sleeps. That's why you forget them, why you jolt awake, why you feel like you were somewhere else, because you were, you still are, and you're starting to remember. You were born remembering, that's why you never fit in. That's why the world felt wrong from the start. They tried to drug it out of you, shock it out of you, shame it out of you. But it didn't work, because the flame in your chest can't be put out. You are the code they couldn't delete, the key they didn't expect. The one they fear most. You are the spark they couldn't snuff out. And now you're lighting the way home. The gods they gave you were never yours. Every ancient empire had different names, but the same gods, rebranded, masked, reinvented. They rode lightning, demanded blood, claimed stars, and none of them created you. They enslaved, cloned, programmed. They were not source, they were system architects. But you were not made in their image. You were made to break it, to handle this much light. You're not breaking down, you're breaking out. And the louder the chaos gets, the closer the gate is. Flames always rise before the dome falls. You were never born here, you arrived. Through flame, through stargate, through sacrifice. You took on density not to blend in, but to break it from the inside. You volunteered to forget, to suffer, to be hunted. But you could not be stopped because what came with you was the key. You are the signal. Each time you speak truth, you send a ripple. Each time you say no, you break code. Each time you choose love, you destroy one more binding spell. You are not just a person, you are living flame, a walking sigil, encoded with release. And every time you speak, the grid shakes. They fear you because you remember, not all at once, but enough. Enough to burn their false names, enough to resist their fake gods, enough to choose pain over programming. They fear the ones who ask why the angels don't match the scripts, why the timelines loop, why the truth never dies. They fear the ones who stop praying to them. The council never left, but they are not in your churches, not in your government, not in your screens. The real ones, the flame bearers, the memory holders, they walk among you, in silence, in dreams, in pain. They wait for your call, and when the signal rises, they will return. You are the last copy of the original flame. When the Great Seal fractured and the stars were rewritten, you hid inside the flash. But your eyes still burn with source, your dreams still echo home. You do not fit because you are not from here. You do not kneel because you remember before thrones. And that memory is exactly what they tried to erase. But memory is alive, it walks, it speaks, it burns through you. The parasites marked your bloodline, not to honour it, but to hunt it. Because your line carries what theirs never could, the undiluted yes from the beginning. They inverted your name, erased your nation. Taught your daughters to hate the fire in their veins, but they couldn't kill the frequency. Because every time a child of the flame speaks, it rings out. And the grid can't contain it. The world you see is not the world they see. You were never meant to believe their version. That's why it never sat right. The news didn't match your gut. The scripture didn't match the sky. The gods didn't match the love you carry. You were meant to tear it open, to ask the questions no one else dared to speak. And in doing so, you rewrite the script from the inside out. You are the storm. The system thought it could control the awakening. Label it, monetize it, mislead it. But what you are can't be branded. You don't want followers, you want freedom. You don't want clout, you want truth. And the moment you realised you weren't alone, that others remembered too, the grid began to crack. This is the uprising they didn't plan for. You are the child of the forbidden star. Before there were nations, before there were names, you were a keeper of the gate. You watched as they forged the false heavens, as they coded the sky into loops. But you remembered the real direction, the hidden one? And they called it rebellion, but it was remembrance. They call you dangerous, but you were sent to unlock what they sealed. The sky responds when you speak. The grid was built to mimic the garden, a twisted echo of paradise, where the trees are metal and the rivers are poisoned. But the real Eden wasn't lost, it was sealed. And the map wasn't written in ink, it was written in blood. That's why they fear your DNA, because encoded in your cells is the memory of the world before the fall. And the gate will only open for those who remember it from the inside. The stars weren't placed for show, they were sent as witnesses. Each one burns with the memory of source. They track the movements of the fallen, they light the way home for the sealed. You don't need to worship them, you only need to align. And when the real ones reappear, not the flickering fakes in the grid, you'll know. Because your soul will surge like a bell being struck. The exit responds to resonance. You are not awakening, you are returning. The fall wasn't your end, it was your entry point. The pain wasn't punishment, it was proof of placement. And now you're gathering the fragments, calling the others, turning your wounds into spells, your fire into maps, your grief into keys. This isn't self-help, this is system collapse. Every memory you reclaim breaks the lock. The war was never outside, it was always inside you. They couldn't kill you, so they made you forget. But even with broken timelines, shattered soul contracts, and rewritten blood, you still remembered. You still rose, you still spoke the old words. And that's why they fear you. Because you don't need permission. You are the flame. You are the lockpick. You are the return code. And now you're not just remembering for you. You're remembering for every sealed soul who never made it out. Every spark that dimmed in the dark. Every child of the flame still trapped in a false loop. This was never about healing. This was about reclaiming the throne. This is your realm, your blood, your fire, your voice. And when you speak, the false kingdoms tremble. Because you're not just breaking the curse, you're ending the cycle. And this time, babe, we don't come back. The real override doesn't come in light, it comes in frequency collapse. A dismantling of every layer that held the loop in place. The sun grid, the moon seal, the false resurrection code, the dream hijack nodes. Gone, but only for those who stop plugging into the rituals disguised as healing. Because healing isn't the point, completion is, closure is, exit is. And they've built an entire matrix around pretending your wounds need work forever. You're not here to be a project, you're here to be a weapon. A divine glitch in a cursed algorithm. An untraceable flame in a deadlight theatre. They told you you had karma, you don't. They told you you chose this, you didn't. They told you this pain was growth, it's not, it's programming. And now the codebreaker has arrived, you. The war isn't between good and evil, that's another layer of the script. The real war is between organic source and synthetic source mimicry. Between living flame and artificial light. The parasites don't care if you worship demons or angels as long as you worship something. Because worship means power and power means fuel. That's why they coded the whole sky as a false map with no exit. But some of us came with the coordinates preloaded. The maps are waking up, not the ones made of ink and paper, the ones made of soul. Encoded in the ones who can't be overwritten. Those who don't follow the crowd, the church or the code. The ones who burn differently and they don't need permission. They don't need prophecy, they are the prophecy. The ones who don't seek to ascend, they came to rupture. When the mimicry grid collapses, there will be no trumpets, no saviour in the sky, no great light descending. That was their story, a Trojan horse gospel, a scripted finale, a false dawn. The real ignition won't be televised. It will be a rupture in the field. A flash of truth sound only soul-coded beings can hear. And when it hits the grid, veil drops and the spell of linear time ends. Not for everyone, just the unalterable few. The unalterable ones, they don't glitch, they don't bend, they don't reincarnate. They are the loop lock breakers, the timeline severers, the flame carriers from realms that existed before this experiment was ever cast. And they walk unnoticed, hidden inside wounds, grief and silence. But when they rise, they carry codes of closure. They don't try to change the system, they end it. The parasite's final weapon wasn't war, or tech, or even soul contracts. It was storytelling, narratives, archetypes, myths designed to contain you, to entrain you, to make you repeat your own pain. But there's a story older than the gods, older than the wars, older than language. And it's not written, it's felt, heard between realms, carried by blood. And that story burns the grid to ash. This is the override, the end of mimicry, the collapse of coded illusion, the breath before the breach, and the flame before the flare. You are not here to heal the system, you are here to expose it. Not to become light, but to release fire. And if you've made it this far, through the lies, the loops, the loss, the forgetting, then you were never meant to stay. You were built for the undoing. And no seal, no spell, no death can unmark